Hi everyone. So what we're gonna do today is go through a C# tutorial. I have been interested in learning C# for a while now. I do have a little bit of a programming background, but I would like to learn C# specifically. So I figured I could go through a few tutorials. They're all from learncs.org. I know you can follow along if you want. If you just want to listen to someone talk about computer science and programming for a while, you can do that as well. But I'm going to go ahead and do this. Learncs.org is a free website. They have a bunch of other programming languages. I haven't looked through those very much. But I think it would be neat to go through those as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going through all the different things. To start with, I'm going to keep these videos pretty short until I get all the settings right. To be honest, I filmed this video about 5 different times now. So each time it wouldn't save properly, so I'm going to kind of just do a few short videos to start with. Just make sure everything sounds okay. Test out a couple different things, maybe whispering, some sounds, some typing, and if it all sounds good, we'll go ahead and we'll make longer videos. But what I'm going to start with is the C# tutorial. There are a bunch of different tutorials here. But of course, if you've ever done any programming, you'll know the first tutorial is always a Hello World tutorial. So we're going to go ahead and select that. Just so you know, again, welcome to learncs.org, free interactive C# tutorial. You don't have to download anything to use this program. You can run all of the code straight from the website. So this first tutorial here, C# is a static programming language which lets us write code that runs atop Microsoft's .NET framework. C# has more features and capabilities than Java, but since it is owned by Microsoft, it means that you may find yourself paying more for your IDE, server operating system, etc. C# is object-oriented, and its syntax language is very similar to Java. In our tutorial, we will be using the system.console.writeLine function to write lines to the output console. When using a C# command line application, the same function can also be used to print to the console. So we're going to start this print hello world exercise. So here, system.console.writeLine, that's going to print out whatever is in these quotes here. So whenever you want something to print, or you're just writing a basic string, you're going to go ahead and you're going to put those in quotes. So the system knows that that's actual text that you literally want printed. It's not part of the code, it's something separate. So it'll take anything in quotes as that. So if we were to run this right now, it would go ahead and it would run goodbye world. So that's, we'll go ahead and we'll run that. But the activity here is to change this over so that it prints out hello world instead. So we'll go ahead and we'll change this to hello world, and we'll go ahead and we'll run that. So it looks like, again, it printed out hello world. We'll go ahead and we'll hit OK. This next section here is on variables and types. So we are kind of stepping up a little bit, but these variables are going to be your building blocks. So C# is a statically typed language, therefore we must define the types of variables before using them. To define a variable in C#, we use the following syntax, which is similar to C and Java. So here we have a bunch of different types of variables. For anyone that is not familiar with programming, what we do is we tell the program what type of variable we want, and then we're going to name that variable, and then we're going to initialize it, or actually set it to what you want it to be. So int right here is an integer, which will be a number. Float, we'll go ahead and have that. Boolean is a true, false value. String is just a bunch of letters. Char is a character, and double is gonna be anything with decimals. I believe it's only 2 decimals, but correct me if I'm wrong. For floating numbers, it looks like with C# you're gonna define that with an F, which is why there's also a character in here as well. So you do have to put that explicit F letter after the number to let the program know it is floating point number. So for this, you can go ahead, you're going to name your variable, and then you can define it as something. So my name equals John. So anytime you call my name, it's actually going to hold the value of John. And a string is just multiple characters. Same with my char, that's going to hold the value of A. Again, you could change this. This could be something that updates in your program to something else. If you have a counter, for example, you can start with one number and then increment that if you were going to do a loop, so that every time it's going to change and store a new value. Sometimes you just want to initialize something, which is how you're going to start it, and it's always better to do that, especially if you are going to have a counter or anything of that nature, so you know definitely it's going to start at 0, it's going to start at 1, and it's going to loop up like that. Normally you initialize something to 0 to make sure the program knows, it's kind of just a fail-safe, so that you know you're really starting at 0. C# supports type inference, which means you don't always have to explicitly specify a type. You can let the compiler try and understand the type of variable automatically. However, once the type of variable has been determined, it cannot be assigned a different type. So you don't have to explicitly state what type of variable you're going to be using, but again, it's always better to be safe than sorry, and it's always better when you're programming to kind of explicitly state everything you want, especially when you start writing more and more code and you don't want to have thousands of lines, and then it turns out one line in the middle of those thousand, threw everything off because you didn't initialize properly or set up exactly the type of variables that you were planning to use. The other thing you can do here is you can set variables equal to something and then use those variables in a different equation. So for example here, you're making x equal to 1 and y equal to 2. So if you went ahead and you printed out sum, which is x plus y, you're going to have 3 there. Sum, the variable sum will hold the value of 3. But again, if you use that in other parts of your program, and you were calling that value and maybe incrementing it, it could change and increase as well depending on where you are in your program. Enum. Enums are integers that should be used when an integer is used to specify an option from a fixed amount of options. So it's kind of similar to a list. You're going to have your type up here. This could be named anything. It could be cars, car type, groceries, grocery list. Then you'll name it, similar items, and you'll give those all values. So what happens here is if you're going to call car type Toyota, you're actually calling the value 1. So this dot here is telling the program, take this value Toyota out of this list or this enum car type, and you're going to set my car type equal to that. So your car type is going to be Toyota out of this list of card types, which is named card type. So we have an exercise here, and you're going to define these 3 variables. So let's go ahead and start this exercise here. Okay, and what you're going to do is we're going to go ahead and make a string, an integer, and a double, and we're going to set it equal to this. So when we print it out, it'll print out these values. So like I was mentioning before, anything in quotes is going to print that actual literal string out. So the difference between this yellow here, that's going to print the string, whereas this green, it's not in quotes, it's going to print the actual value that you initialize to. So when we print this, after we set those values up, you're going to go ahead and get the word's product name, and you're also going to get the value. I think if we run this now, we might get an error because we don't have those variables exactly. We don't have these variables set up. So it's trying to pull these out, product name, product year, product price, but it's telling us, we don't have that anywhere, so we can't run this program because I don't know what that is. I don't know what product name, product year, and product price are. So what we'll do, just for the sake of time, is we'll go ahead and we'll copy these in, and then we'll go ahead and change what we need to. So anything here with these double slashes is going to be comments. That's anything you don't want to run in your program, but you still want in there so that other people know what it is. So what are we doing? We're doing a string called product name, an integer, and a double. So we're not going to do any booleans or floats, so we'll take those out. And we're not going to do any single characters. The int that we're doing, the integer is product year, and we're going to set that equal to 2012. The string we're creating is product name. We're going to set that equal to TV for the instructions. And the double we're creating is product price. And naming conventions are very important in all types of programming. What you tend to do in C languages, Java, C#, C++, just C. When you have multiple words, you don't put spaces in there. You just make the first word lowercase, and every word after that, when it's a new word, it's going to be a capital letter, and that kind of takes the place of the spaces. So you're going to remember that, and it just makes it more aesthetically pleasing and easier to read when you have that. We'll go ahead and we'll run, and capitalization and punctuation are very important. Product name with a capital N and product name with a lowercase n, I can actually go ahead and show you that. As far as I know, that's not going to run. I don't think it'll do too. There you go. So it's saying product name doesn't exist. Even though we have a product name, it still needs to be capitalized, and it'll pick that up. So you have to be very, very careful that everything is matching exactly how you want it to, or how you need it to. So capitalization does matter. There are some languages like SQL. SQL is how it is spelled, or how it is stylized. But SQL, that isn't as big. You can have capital, lowercase. You can run everything pretty much however you want, and it's not really going to take that into consideration, which is nice. You can kind of be a little bit sloppier with certain languages, but most programming languages, you're going to want to be pretty precise. So we'll go ahead and we'll run that. And what that's going to do is it's going to run names and run the values that we initialized to. So again, we have that double, we've got that string, product here. So for now, I'll go ahead and I'll save this, and we'll come back with another tutorial.